tax planning and Roth conversions. What do you need to be looking at when you're doing Roth conversions and doing your tax planning? Well, I was looking at a scenario today and that I think will be helpful. Okay, so I want to share that scenario and just point out a couple things to be looking at when you're doing conversions. Let me bring that up here. So this is the scenario. Okay, so looking at a 72-year-old widow, and she doesn't really need income from her IRA right now. So we're looking at, should we be doing conversions right now or shouldn't we? And there's a lot that plays into that. But the first thing that we're going to look at is, what is your taxable income? How much are you paying on the next $1,000 of income, the next $5,000 of income, $10,000, to see if we should be converting and how much we should be converting. Okay. Now, when I initially looked at her taxes in her tax report, it said that she had $5,000 or so left in the 12% income tax bracket. Okay, so initial thoughts, thoughts after looking at that would be, we should convert $5,000. Absolutely, because she's staying in the 12% income tax bracket. So we need to convert that $5,000, because then the next income tax bracket is 22%. All right. Now, one other thing that played in there is she has $1,000 of capital gains, and that $1,000 is taxed at 0% as long as she stays in the 12% income tax bracket. So we probably want to reduce that $5,000 by $4,000 or a little more, so that she doesn't pay any taxes on that. But with that aside, this is a range calculation here, okay? So this range calculation just looks at what is she paying taxes for every $1,000 she converts. Okay, so this is over $50,000. So the next $50,000 of income she would have, what does she pay in taxes? And if we analyze that, okay, we're looking right here. It says she pays 12% ordinary income taxes. Okay, we know that already, right? 0 on capital gains, we know that. But that causes more of her Social Security to be taxed, okay? And specifically, it's going to cost an additional 10.2%, all right? Because the more income you have, the more of your Social Security that is taxed, okay? Up to 85%. So if she converts $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000, she's actually going to pay an effective tax rate of 22.2% versus 12%, which is what we initially thought. Okay, so that's a lot different than paying 12%. Now, beyond $4,000, then what does it look like? Okay, that's going to cause her long-term capital gains to be taxed. Okay, so 7.9% on capital gains, it's going to cause more of her Social Security to be taxed, up to, when we get to $7,000 here, now she's paying an effective rate. Well, she's paying 22%. Okay, so she's moved up into the 22% federal income tax bracket, and then it's causing more of her Social Security to be taxed, which is an effective rate of 18.7%. So she's effectively paying 40.7% income tax on additional income from $7,000 all the way up to $18,000. Okay, and then that goes down over the next couple $1,000s to where it's just the 22% federal income tax. All right. And this does not include state income taxes, okay? That could be additional tax. But this is just a great example of, if you don't know exactly what you're doing when you're looking at your tax planning, you may not find this. You may not see this. And you may convert $10,000 and think you're only paying 22% on, part of that, and 12% on another part of it, and find out that you're going to owe more money in taxes. And that's because of the effective tax rate, causing things like your Social Security to be taxed more. Okay, so I just want to get this out to you guys to let you know that it's not just looking at where you fall in the federal income tax bracket. There are other things like capital gains that come into play. And then a big one for federal retirees is going to be you're causing more of your Social Security to be taxed. Okay? This is a common scenario that I run into. And now that you have this information, now she needs to decide, taking into account what her goals are, is it worth converting or not? Okay, so maybe it still makes sense for her to do a conversion, but yet if she does, then she knows that this is what she's going to pay in taxes. All right, but then again, maybe she sees this and thinks, you know what, it's just not worth it to me. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until I have to take RMDs here in another 3 years. So hope that this is helpful and just it gives you a little bit more information about your tax planning and what to know and look out for when you're doing conversions. Okay? Thanks, guys.